Hi, I'm Dr. OMD, and this is the Game Clinic. Hi, this is Dr. OMD, and this is the Game Clinic, an MWI, Men Who Invest production. And here at the Game Clinic, we're going to be talking about lots of different topics that are relevant and related to things that happen when you invest your time properly. And we're going to have lots of different guests from different walks and professions. This week on our first episode, we have a very special guest, actor, producer, and writer, Mr. Geoffrey Giuliano. Many of you know him as the VIP member from the famous global sensation show, the Squid Game.
If you can satisfy me in 5 minutes, I might let you leave. Tell me everything you know about the game.
He has lots of relevant topics to talk with us today, including race, his life struggles, his successes, and what it took for him to become the person who he is today. And as always, at the bottom, click that like button. And also, stay tuned for any of our updates that we have for the Men Who Invest channel and our Patreon, as well as our YouTube page for the Game Clinic. Welcome to the Game Clinic. I am your host, Dr. OMD, and I have a special guest with us today. And this is going to be our first episode here on the Game Clinic podcast, produced by MWI, Men Who Invest. Such a pleasure to have this guest here. And just to give you a little bit of a background about the Game Clinic and what this show is about, this is a show that's going to be talking about different themes in society, whether it be related to mental health, financial health, social network building, and things that you need to do in order to become successful in life. Overall, the Game Clinic is more just about the game of life, the obstacles that you can encounter along the way, how to overcome those obstacles, and how to be successful in your life. And what better guest to kind of demonstrate that through his most recent work and his life work in general. I have a special guest here from the Squid Game, actor Geoffrey Giuliano. He is a writer, actor, and producer. He is from the U.S., but he was fortunate enough to speak with us here today on the Game Clinic podcast for our very first episode. And he is right now in Thailand, in Bangkok, actually. Over there, it's around 5:30 almost in the morning. We really appreciate him coming out here to speak with us and talk a little bit more about his life, his success, things that kind of led him to where he is right now, and just to give us a little bit, advice and tips and skills about some of the things that he went to get to where he is right now. So without further ado, Mr. Geoffrey Giuliano, could you tell us about your background? What got you into acting and writing and producing in general?
Well, I've been an actor for a long time. I've made 28 films, and I'm a popular character actor. I go from movie to movie to movie for the last 15 years. But the public wasn't aware of my work so much. Producers were, and they would give me gigs, but the public, until Squid Game, didn't know who I was. So that's completely changed. In fact, I saw a Google Analytics graph on myself, and it went in a straight line, and then with Squid Game, it just went right off the roof, and that's where it stayed. I mean, it's 4 o'clock in the morning in Bangkok. I'm doing interviews. I've got another interview. I got 3 more interviews today. So I think the fact that the Korean cast is not doing any media because they're incapable of it, predicated on the fact they don't speak English, other than waving or something. It's not too much meaningfully that they can do in terms of promotion. So I've been basically asked to do most of the promotion for Squid Game. But yeah, the public didn't know who I was, but the industry knew who I was, and they would offer me job after job.
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely say that Squid Game has been a huge international hit, and I'm pretty sure that your promotion is even helping it even further. I mean, right now, as we know, Squid Game is like the number one show on Netflix. You've already done
25% of the population of the planet has seen it.
Yeah, that actually is a very important statistic right there, just to give you the huge number and impact of this show. About, I think, 111 million people within the first month were watching that show, and that's like the number one Netflix show of all time as of right now. No other show has been able to top those metrics. It's just been a huge sensation, and for those of people who haven't had a chance to watch Squid Game, can you kind of give us a little bit of a brief background of Squid Game, its themes, for those who are not familiar with the show in general, and then also your role too, because you actually play a pretty integral role on that show as one of the VIP members, for people who know that show.
Well, it's a dark look at a dystopian world, but it's not fantasy. It's kind of the world we live in. People walking back from 7-Eleven get blasted by police, and blown away. There's an airborne virus that's killing millions of people. People are living insulated lives. They don't trust anybody. I live in Thailand because I won't go to America because of the violence. When I used to put my son on the school bus, I'd breathe a sigh of relief that he wasn't murdered in the classroom. And when he got off the bus, so I didn't want to live like that. But Squid Game offers the Squid Game offers a view of the world which is dark and dystopian, and that's exactly the world that we're living in now. Not exactly. I mean, there's a lot of artistic license. We're not having games where people are killing each other. No, we just do it on the street, at 7-Eleven, in the school room, So there's plenty of violence to go around, and it's a kind of a reflection of our time. Now, my part was modeled after Donald Trump. I came to find out later. And it's just a kind of a pig, a kind of a thug, people who twist every human value around a dollar. Money's not going to save you at the time of death. Money's not going to keep you from getting to be old and infirm and sick, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Money's really no answer at all. It just makes you more uncomfortable. Although John Lennon once said, miserable rich is better than miserable poor. So there's something to be said for money, but it's certainly nothing that I would want to ever give my life over to as like the predominating force, But, when I watch a lot of the videos for your generation, there's a lot of emphasis on money and bling and, and they're just such stupid, inconsequential values, which bring the whole world down. And this is another thing that Squid Game reflects. And indeed, my role is like, yeah, well, I've got money. I can do anything I want. I can have sex with you. I can kill you. So it's just that kind of authoritarian trend we have in the world now for big rich guys to tell everybody else what to do. And in my case, obviously, you saw me going from a big guy that was controlling everything to a simpering, weeping little wuss. When I had that gun to my head. Right. So, but look, I just thought it was another movie. I'd make lots of movies. I thought, okay, here's another movie, And then after this, I'll make another one. I didn't know I was going to be in the Beatles or something.
Right.
Suddenly joined the Beatles, you know. So, I mean, like, you know, I used to be a famous writer, and I had lots of publicity in the 80s and 90s, early 2000s. But I haven't been, in the 15 years I've been a film actor, I haven't been mentioned one time. They said, and the cast also includes Geoffrey Giuliano. Now, if you go to geoffreygiuliano.com and you go to press, there's pages and pages and pages and pages of articles about me. Did I suddenly become talented? No, I've always been talented. I just came to the attention of the world because of Squid Game.
Right. And kind of going off what you said before, like, I mean, you've done a lot of roles, over 24 to be exactly. And
28.
28, yeah.
28 movies.
Yes. But, you know, I know for sure, like, for anybody who hasn't actually read about your story, you actually have a very, very intriguing story. So for those who actually don't know about your background, before you actually were a part of the cast of the Squid Game, you got in contact with the producer, Hwang Dong-hyuk, from Korea, and he chose you for that role. You were at like a really difficult point in your life, from what I've been talking about your experience in India, in Jasper, India specifically, when you were stranded there during the pandemic with your son, basically just penniless, not having any means of, like, you know, getting money, and just almost like fighting for your life. So I can imagine that experience in itself, and kind of going through all the things that you went through before, and then coming into what you're feeling right now. It's just unreal. So when you're presented,
it is unreal.
So when you were presented with the storyline of Squid Game, did your experience in any way kind of like influence you or help you resonate more with the storyline and being part of the cast?
Okay, well, yeah, that's a well thought out, well articulated question, my brother. But the bottom line is, I don't think too much about movies. I'm given a script.
Okay.
Look, there's two ways of acting in movies. Guys that are become the character, like the guy who played Abraham Lincoln, I forgot his name, Daniel Day-Lewis.
Right.
And, you know, and they're Lincoln all the time, and they're Lincoln when they go back to the hotel, they're Lincoln with their wife, they're Lincoln at breakfast. You know, and then that's method actor stuff. And then there's the actor like me, which is a real old-fashioned kind of actor. They give me the script. I learn the lines. I think about how I'm going to sound, how I'm going to look, and then I go in and do it. I don't put that kind of in-depth thinking into acting. I've been doing it so many years. I have a sophisticated bag of tricks, which I can call and pull from at any time. Oh, okay, I'll use this accent, I'll use this one. You know, and that one is, hey, 69, it's my favorite number. If I can't do a 69, I'll do 96. It's this kind of hoodlum thing that I played a lot. And I'm Italian, and I was raised around these kind of guys. And so it's not difficult for me. So the answer is, I don't know about any of that stuff. I don't really do that. Now, if they paid me $1 million or something, and they wanted to have in-depth rehearsals and psychological discussions and breakdowns of the character, hey, I'm all in for that. But, you know, okay, most of that cast got between $2 million and $500,000, and I got like $100,000 basically is what I got. So I was so far down. In fact, there were 14 stars of Squid Game, and I'm number 14. So I am a star of Squid Game, but I'm the last one. And so I didn't have the kind of, in fact, I didn't even get the full script. I was just given my part. Now, they do that for security reasons, because they don't want somebody, whatever, my girlfriend picks up the script and sells it to the newspapers in England or something like that. So they only give you your part. I was the star of episode 7. I was on screen for 13 minutes, but I wasn't the star of the series. I was just the star of my episode. So I don't know. Personally, I tell you, I don't understand why Squid Game is this popular. I just don't understand it. I've always avoided watching movies that demanded I read something while I was watching a movie. It takes away when you watch a movie, there's something called the willing suspension of disbelief, where you just like, okay, I really believe that this is Star Wars universe. But when you have to read something, that demands more of you and takes away in my case, it takes away my full ability to enter into the world that is unfolding before me, the metaverse, if you will. So I've never watched, I think, one or two movies in all my years. I'm over 60 that I felt were justified me reading for 2 hours, So I don't know why this happened. I could never, I knew that I was getting more money than usual when I went there. I knew that the hotel, the apartment they gave me was very, very fancy. I knew that they were kissing my ass a lot, and I knew that the set was very, very beautiful. So I had some inclination that this was a big deal, but I could never have foreseen. I thought, oh, I'm lucky. I got way more money than I normally get, kind of thing. And then it just became this incredible phenomena that continues to this day. I've been doing these interviews for over a month. All times of the day and night. I have to turn off my phone because it goes beep, 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 beep. It's an unheard of phenomena.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean,
if there was no COVID, there would be no Squid Game. This is fully dependent on the fact that people are locked in their house and they're, afraid to go outside, and everything that's happening, the January 6th insurrection in Washington, the uncertainty of our future with authoritarian political pigs trying to take over and the will of the people, for their own nefarious, basically money-minded end. So, I understand why it happened on one level, but I have not watched Squid Game. I'm probably not supposed to say this. I couldn't concentrate on that thing. I've watched me plenty, but like any good narcissistic actor. But I have not watched Squid Game. I won't watch Squid Game. The Koreans are an interesting cultural manifestation. There's a great deal of difference between the culture of the American mind and the Korean mind. I'll say that very, very diplomatically.
Okay. Interesting way to put that. And some very, very interesting perspective you kind of just brought to a lot of our listeners that probably weren't even aware about. I'm pretty sure that, even though, like you said, you haven't watched the whole show, this has had like a very drastic impact on your career. So how would you say this is kind of like, yeah, how I mean, you're in Thailand, but and you've been there for quite some time. So how has that kind of impacted you in your life and your career?
Well, okay, I'll tell you a story. About 2 weeks before it came out, I don't sleep very much, and my wife was sleeping in there, Thai lady, and her foot was over the bed, and I put her foot back under the cover and covered it. And I looked out into this dark bedroom. I was standing there, and I thought, well, Geoffrey, you've worked really hard. You got your master's degree. You did all the apprenticeships. You went all over the world doing these movies and stuff. But, Jeff, it just didn't work out for you, man. You didn't become a movie star, It's the way it is sometimes. It's the luck of the draw. And 2 weeks later, I was a world-famous guy. Newsweek, huge magazine, declared me as a global star. So, yeah, but we always knew philosophically that acting could do that to you. Like, it's like having a hit record or something. You're a band playing in a bar and suddenly you have a hit record and you're on some private jet. So, but I'll tell you something. I'm not like a lot of famous people. If anybody writes me a letter, I answer it. If anybody contacts me, I'll contact them back. I am a leftist, socialist, democratic, political person, and I have a great feeling and empathy for the people. Now, who writes me? Young people write me. People that have issues in their life about sexual orientation, gender identification, kind of important issues for young people. You know, people throw themselves out of windows when they, and take overdoses when they have these conflicts within their life. So, suddenly not only have I become some sort of popular actor, but people are reaching out to me in all kinds of interesting ways, and some of them not very good ways. But I try to speak to everyone who if people are going to elevate me by virtue of my appearance in Squid Game to some kind of a celebrity, I want to be responsible in that position. I'm not going to, just be some jerk that just takes all the good stuff and doesn't give back. Like, for instance, I'm auctioning off my costume, my robe, and my script for charity. So, whatever I can do, I'll do. I'm not a rich guy. I'm a successful movie actor, but I don't think I'm any kind of movie star or anything like that. And I'll tell you, if I ever did become some big movie star, I would be the same person that I am. It would not change me. I'd just be able to go out and buy things without looking at the price tag, but I don't think much other than that would matter. I got some teenage girls in Iran that formed a group called the Golden Mask, which was a fan club for me. And they would talk to me and they said, I'm 15, I'm 13, and they would send me pictures of their lunch and stuff. Well, when it got to them sending pictures of their lunch, I had to kind of back off because I don't have the time to look at pictures of people's lunch in Iran, I made this lunch. It's yummy. Oh, okay, cool. Your lunch is yummy. And I didn't want to denigrate these girls. I didn't want to hurt their feelings, but there is a limit of how much interaction you can have with fans that's meaningful to them and for you. And I've had some death threats too. Someone said they're going to cut me up in little pieces and throw me off the pier. And so there's all kinds of sexual things people have written me, photographs, calling me daddy and stuff. So some of it's bizarre. And there's crazy people out there. Ask John Lennon when they blew him away. There's crazy, crazy people out there.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I can imagine just some of the things that you've been kind of interacting with since your role.
But the main thing they say is, you weren't satisfied in 5 minutes. Let me finish the job.
Wow. That's going to be your classic line that people are going to be going.
Oh yeah,
just that one.
Dude, yeah. No, that one. Satisfied in 5 minutes, and hey, if I can't do 69, I'll do 96. And 69, that's a beautiful number. So it's going to be some stupid shit like this. I'm a Shakespearean actor.
Right.
I'm a well-trained, to be thus is nothing but to be safely, thus our fears and banqueting. I can do Shakespeare for you all day long. But I have become synonymous with, hey, if you can't do 69, do 96. It's ridiculous. but that's the way it rolls. And listen, there's an old saying that I tell every actor. I say it almost once a day when I'm working. How do you make an actor complain? Give him a job. I'm not going to complain about shit because I have been, this has made changes to my ability to take care of my family.
Right.
This is show business. It's called show business, not show fun or show party. It's show business. So like when you tell me I got to get up at 4 a.m., I get up at 4 a.m., so that millions of people can know kind of who I am and what's happening. Because look, let's be honest now. That was a very easy role for me to play. It wasn't difficult. It wasn't challenging. I want to star in some big Ocean's 11 with Brad Pitt and stuff and play. I want to be the James Bond villain. I want bigger things to happen for me, just for my own artistic edification and for money and stuff like that. But I mean, that was just, I didn't even have to think about that movie. I just went in there, and I like the part where I say, the guy's over there, the waiter's over, and I said, "Hey, you, come here," and I just felt, what an asshole this guy is, talking to people like that. I'm a guy that's very sensitive about the way I talk to waiters and stuff,
right?
And I said, "Hey, you, come here," what a jerk. But and there's another thing that I found out. This is interesting. People confuse me with the character. There's been some articles that say Geoffrey Giuliano is the same as that guy. There's been some negative articles about me. And that's something the media likes to do this. Like when they build somebody up, after they build them up to a certain point, there's nothing left to do but knock them down.
Yep.
So I had a paparazzi follow me after I did this movie with Tommy Lee Jones called Mechanic Resurrection. And some paparazzi followed me when I left the studio, and I went in to get some groceries. And I went to get, my son said he wanted some bananas. So I went to get the bananas. When I came back, my son was crying. And the paparazzi had frightened my son with the cameras. And so the guy said, "Go ahead, get mad. Go ahead, get mad. Go ahead. You want to get mad? Go ahead. I want you to get mad." And he turned on the camera. And I said, "Listen, man, get the F out of here. Leave my son alone." And so they say Geoffrey Giuliano orders people around in grocery store or whatever it is. You tell me, you, your father, your uncle, the guy next door, somebody with a camera makes your little 12-year-old son cry, you're going to be saying some shit to that guy. Right. You can be telling that guy, get out of here. What are you doing? Get out of here. And I'm from New York. I'm Sicilian. And there's not too much you're going to do to my family that I'm going to be okay with. So, but that got around the world. And then they said, okay, Geoffrey Giuliano see, look what he did in the grocery store. That means he's a bad guy just like this other guy. So there's just a lot of crap. When you said to me earlier about something that I've read in the media, I thought, oh, well, you can't believe really too much you read in there. Okay, I'll give you another example. I said something in the media a couple of years ago, and in the comments at the bottom it said, "Oh, this guy's such a Hillary Clinton supporter." So that all the Trump guys said I was a Hillary Clinton supporter, and all the Clinton supporters said, "Well, he's obviously a Make America Great Trump fan." So they completely missed who I was. I had a guy today. I said something about when I go to India, there's this little spiritual village I go to that's been overrun with Indian tourists. He said, "That's racist. You said Indian tourist. You're guilty of cultural appropriation and cultural genocide." Dude, I just said there are a lot of Indian tourists there. Come on, I'm not guilty of genocide because I said Indian tourist. I could have said Russian tourist. I could have said English tourist. How dare you say Indian tourist? If I would have said Indian tourist, the problem with Indian tourists is they have the mentality of a gorilla, and they're so inferior to Americans. That would have been racist. But simply saying there's a lot of Indian tourists here, that's not racist. So there's so much stuff they put in the media that's just bullshit that you haven't been on the other side of this kind of attention, but I have. And I know now the value of it, and it's not too much.
Okay. Oh, all right. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. Seeing all those different perspectives and kind of the upside of where you're at right now, but also kind of the negative sides of being in the spotlight. I think a lot of people kind of overlook those things when they're looking at these, up and coming stars or, television or film actors, and kind of getting an inside look into some of the things that they have to deal with.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry to interrupt you. One of the things that I find is important, and I've had to really force myself, is to not feed trolls. When someone trolls me online, which they do, pretty much once a day or something, I want to say, "Oh, you're wrong about that." You can't do that. You just have to let them say, like he beats his wife, or they didn't say that, but that's an example that Geoffrey beats his wife. No, I don't. You can't win. If you feed it, they're just sitting out there waiting for you to react. And then when you react, they write more bad shit. So you just have to, like the guy who said I was guilty of cultural genocide because I said Indian tourist. He was Indian, of course. You old white men are all the same. Your generation is just going to have to die out before we can make any progress. What are you talking about, dude? I'm a socialist. I am not a racist dude. I got a Thai wife in there and I got a Thai son in there. There's nothing racist going on here. This whole concept that we should have perpetual wars because of the amount of pigmentation in a person's skin is insane. And my late wife said the best thing I've ever heard about race, we're wandering off into the weeds here, but I'm sitting in front of a big black man with a beard, so I want to say some of this stuff, is that she said, you know what, everybody should just get together and make love, and then everybody will be sort of tan. Everybody should just screw each other. And then everybody will be tan.
I definitely, I get what you're going right here. But I just want to make sure I'm getting all their questions in. And that we want to have some other discussion about some of the things that we kind of had on our mind about your life. All
right. Come on. Hit me with your best shot, big boy. Go ahead, man. Go ahead for it.
All right, man. So just kind of, this is something that I'm a little bit more curious about, because as of right now, you are 68 years old, right?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. So now reflecting back on your life.
It's awful. It's awful. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm okay, but I'm going to die soon, and that really puts a damper on shit.
Yeah. And we all kind of know about just the stages of life, but, being 68, it seemed like your career kind of take off in a little bit of a trajectory, which is kind of very different from like the conventional idea of people having like, okay, well, you're getting into your 30s or 40s, that's going to be your prime time. But now you're 68 years old. You're kind of almost like taking off and hitting your peak with your career with some of these roles that you're doing. So what lessons has that taught you about the game of life in general, and just like success and working towards your goals, and just understanding the concept of like delayed gratification? Because a lot of people will be like, oh man, I'm going through all these different roles. I'm doing all these different, writings and producing, gigs, and it's not taking off where I really want to get to it. But now I'm 68 and I'm actually hitting something, or I've hit a role that has kind of let people know, okay, these are my skills. I'm definitely a very talented person. So what has that kind of taught you about the game of life in general, when you were seeing yourself kind of being at this point in your life and your career?
Well, I wish it would have happened at 38 rather than 68, but I've had a really good life. I've got a great family, and I'm very grateful for what I have. I'm distressed about death, and life is a beautiful thing, and the alternative is awful. And, even if there's a God, you don't know what's going to happen. This, but you don't know anything else. You hope for this and hope for that. So that's a problem. It's kind of gnawing at you, like when you're walking down the street and a dog passes you, and then it comes around and looking and trying to nip at your heels. So you have this time nipping at your heels. That's a strange and worrisome sensation, although I try not to worry about it. It's not my go-to thing to think of in the morning. Hey, I'm going to die in a few years. I don't do that, but it's there, But yeah, career, hey, there's a good thing about being 68 and being some kind of movie star, is that you can put it in its proper perspective. I've seen people I love dead. I've made millions of dollars and lived in poverty. I've had so much, I'm so vastly experienced in life that I can handle anything that comes at me with ease. I don't like, oh my God, they said this about me or this. I'm very, very well grounded, and there is wisdom that comes with being older and old, not older. I'm old. There's wisdom that comes with being old, and it allows me to navigate through life more easily. So in terms of career, I wish it would have happened earlier, but I'm glad it's better to happen now than not happen at all. And I have a lot I can offer to the world of cinema, because I'll tell you, I'm a character actor, dude. I can play any damn thing. I've played women before. I've played tons of mafia guys. I've played a lot of Shakespearean type, Game of Thrones type dudes. So I'm a really good actor, and I can play all this different stuff, and people would be well advised to hire me for their film. And there's a good thing about acting. It's not like some goofy thing where you can only work till you're 65 and then that you have to retire. You can be an actor till you're 90.
Right.
So I feel I got about another 10 years, probably not 10, probably 8 years that I can be an active actor, and I intend to do. But I'm also a writer. I have other things I do. I own an audiobook company. So when I'll tell you one thing, that I'm a narrator, and my voice is a million times better than when I was young. So some things, like when you hear Paul McCartney sing, he can't sing anymore. The long and winding road, give it up. But there's a richness when I narrate. It's like a fine wine. So certain things, like if they want me to run around and be I did a movie called Hard Target 2 for Universal, where I had to run around with a gun. I couldn't really do that anymore. But I can sit in some sort of Pentagon and say, all right, gentlemen, what are we going to do here about this nuclear weapon that's coming or the asteroid that's coming towards New York? I can do all that kind of stuff. So there's physical limitations, but I'm more qualified now than I have ever been to take on Hollywood.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely interesting perspectives that you gave right there. But I'm also kind of interested to know, like you mentioned a lot of different things you've done with your role, in terms of from voice and voiceover just to different characters. So kind of just to help summarize some of the things that we've talked about. So what advice would you give to up and coming artists specifically, and like steps that they need to take to get into the film industry and be recognized for different roles and gigs?
Take any job they offer you. Take any job they offer you when you're starting out. I used to hang around, when I was a teenager, I'd hang around the local TV station that just did the news, weather, and sports. I said, wow, man, I really like, oh, really? Well, come on back in. Yeah, I like this with cameras and lights and stuff. That's interesting to me. Well, come on. The weatherman, his name was Paul Reynolds, said, all right, well, Jeff, come on in and you can sit in the background and watch me do the weather. So it's just like I don't know why I'm like this. Nobody knows why they're like they are, but karma or something. So I would say hang out with people that are doing it. Take any job that's given to you. Make your own jobs. I've made a lot of jobs. I sit around waiting for some goofy guy to invite me to be in his stupid movie. I can make stupid movies myself. If I don't have, with the technology now, I've got a thing called 12 Good Years, which is about a Nazi I play the Nazi that's going to be hung at dawn or something, and he's being interrogated one last time. And it's really, really, really good acting. And I just make this stuff myself. Sometimes I post it, sometimes I don't. So everybody's got a camera. If you want to be an actor, put on the camera. If you want to be a painter, get some paint. If you want to be a dancer, dance. Morgan Freeman didn't get a proper acting job till he was over 50. Okay? So we all know what happened there. And he said, look what happened to me. Look what happened to me. Just some goofy actor that nobody knew about. Now I'm like a global star, according to Newsweek magazine. So you don't know what your lot in life is going to. A lot of things just happen to people. I'm sorry about talking about race, but it's on my mind. You're talking to an artist. You want to know about an artist. Well, this is the kind of stuff that's on my mind, and this is why I told you, and I'm right when I tell you this, is that one of the reasons that Squid Game was such a big hit is because it reflects how screwed up the world is right now, and artists are maybe more sensitive than other people at some level. So when, I'm not wandering in the weeds, I'm just trying to give you the motivation. There's that black guy who got shot by the police, and he said, I'm a vegetarian. that guy. You know, I'm a vegetarian. I play the violin. I'm not like other people. Bang. You know, these kind of things impact the artist, and they want to show it or reflect it. See, artists are kind of a reflector, a mirror to society. So what did I show you in Squid Game? I showed you what a pig these rich guys are in most cases. Jeff Bezos, all these guys spending $1 billion. You know, if I was Jeff Bezos, I'd say to my wife, okay, we're billionaires. Let's like help a bunch of people out, and let's have a really nice house. But we don't have to have rocket ships and, you know, palaces and stuff. Come on. You know, let's give 25% and feed everybody in Pittsburgh, or do things. So artists are reflective of society, and we have an increased social responsibility to try and we're teachers, we're storytellers, we teach people. And now if you want to know, if an alien came here and wanted to know what a rich billionaire pig is like, they could watch me in Squid Game. And these guys like me in Squid Game are doing a lot of damage to the world. So that would be my justification for bringing a social consciousness to what I do.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I definitely appreciate you giving us that perspective, because like what a lot of people don't realize is that, you know, your roles, the acting that, you know, actors like you do, it's almost like a reflection of what you're trying to portray that's out in the real world, and kind of themes and lessons you can kind of extract from that. So that's definitely something that a lot of people kind of miss whenever they're watching, you know, different characters and roles. But I appreciate you kind of bringing that to the forefront. I know we only have like 2 more minutes here, but you know, we could still, you know, continue to talk afterwards. But as far as filming here in the studio, 2 more minutes. And just a last question would be, so do you want to give us any type of updates about any of your upcoming roles, or even season 2 of Squid Game, if you know anything about it?
There will be a season 2.
Okay.
I don't know if I'll be in it. If they call me, I will. This is another good thing about being a 68-year-old actor. I don't really care as much as I used to. It's like, I know people that almost, you know, they're neurotic. Like, I didn't get the part, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. The other guy got it. He's taking food out of my son's mouth, you know, and they become crazy. You know, it's like, hey, man, if they call me, I'll do the gig. If they don't, you know, I know at this point that life kind of takes care of you. Now, this is an important message for people. Life sort of takes care of you, you know. If you want what you need, you're going to get it. If you want what you want, a lot of times you don't, because you didn't need it in the first place. What do the Rolling Stones say? They say, if you can't always get what you want, but you'll get what you need. So when you're older, you got your priorities straight. So yeah, if they call me, they call me. I think there's going to be a season 2. I know there's going to be a season 2. If they call me, I'll do it, and I'll ask for 10 times more money. Obviously, since everybody else is millionaire from it, I want big money too. And I'm auctioning off I have a charity that feeds women in widows in West Bengal, India. So I'm auctioning off my robe for that. I have 3 big movies coming out. I can't talk about that. I am writing a book about Squid Game called Squid Game Confidential, which will be out in a year. And I've got an audio book coming out in 3 weeks called I Am VIP for Acting in Squid Game. So that's coming out also. So I've got 2 books coming out on Squid Game. I've got 3 movies I can't talk about under contract. I anticipate there'll be a season 2, and that I may or may not be involved. It's just purely up to them whether they. Now, I have heard one scenario where they said that the VIPs are going to be sort of captured by the players, and we're going to be forced to play the game. But that would be the world's shortest TV series, because the first time there was a glass bridge for me to go, I would fall and die. So I would have no ability to play that game successfully. So yeah, all those things are out there. I don't know what's going to happen, but that's what makes life exciting. You know, it's like I meet you. You know, I didn't know who you are. Now I meet you. I said, well, here's a potential good guy that I know. And so I'm open to things. You got to be open to life. You know, you can't have your prejudices get in the way and what you think about stuff. You know, it's like, listen, of all the things there is to know, how much do we know? Not too much, you know. So you've got to have what the Zen calls a beginner's mind. Even though I'm 68, I try to have a childlike curiosity about life and to have a beginner's mind so that everything's kind of wonderful. Remember the first time you made love, or you smoked a joint, or you saw something that moved you? You know, I still try to keep that childlike enthusiasm in my life right up to the end.
Well, that is a great mindset to have, and it's definitely a mindset that kind of gets that keeps you motivated, and staying focused on your craft and enjoying your work. Mr. Giuliano, I really appreciate you coming out here to speak with us on the Game Clinic. Thanks again, and we will stay in contact. Again, I am Dr. OMD, the host of the Game Clinic, produced by MWI. Appreciate everybody here who helped put together this podcast episode. Please do stay tuned for our after hours discussion, along with all the other MWI guests and board members, whether it's going to be Rico Keller, Raynard Thomas, and also Donovan Tolbert, and our agent Aaron Spencer. We're going to be doing that and filming that at a separate time, doing a breakdown of this discussion we're having here and talking about other themes. And if you have any other questions or that you want to talk about with us in the discussion, you can email us at our email, and menwhoinvest@gmail.com. And please do follow us on our social media page. My social media is at Dr. OMD on Instagram, and our Instagram for Men Who Invest is also up, so you can click that link and follow us, and there will be more updates and content coming very soon. I really appreciate everybody who's watching this episode that's going to be streamed on YouTube, as well as our Patreon that's going to be coming up soon. Thank you again. This is our show, and we will get back to you at another episode on the Game Clinic.